Welcome back. The people living in the wildlife area of Port Moresby North East have taken a bold step to fight for the land on which they squatter. This is through a foundation they have created called the Shanty Foundation. Member for Moresby North East, Labi Amayu, praised the initiative, saying it is a step in the right direction to help the many families that have settled in the area for 3 to 4 generations. Bradley Gregory with this report.
The air was filled with tribal songs as the wildlife settlement in Port Moresby North East electorate welcomed its representative of parliament, Labi Amayu. All 3 zones in wildlife united for the event. To the stage, a bit of music. And it was down to business.
Concern blomi lo protecting interest from all people blomi.
The ceremony is the launch of Shanty Strive Foundation. The word shanty colorfully disguised for the word settlement.
And by the foundation to help wildlife, nang ka believe also, and by experience sa notice. Help the settlement, help life living the settlement, so that you can walk move one them sa pamamas, na move one them will change in the country.
Northeast MP Labi Amayu was given the honor of launching the association.
But until time government come and we take him position blow and constitution blow you mean legalize him land act, that's where they become victims over their own land. But you must have you make a plenty of kind on man. Only say using this system no lands department no acquire him or ground underneath the table.
For many years, settlers in many parts of Port Moresby have been evicted from the lands on which they occupy. These are for the reasons of developing the land. However, the fact of the matter is that some of these people are genuine settlers, those that have lived on the land for 3 or 4 generations now, on a legitimate agreement with the landowners until the Land Act was formed, forcing them in all sorts. For this reason, associations and foundations like the Shanty Foundation are created to represent the people and bring the issues to the appropriate authorities for consideration. Already background work has completed. The foundation has detailed information of every citizen residing in wildlife, portion they occupy, right down to their medical details and other necessary requirements. Bradley Gregory, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry Richard Maru has welcomed the response by Fiji's Industry, Trade and Tourism Minister Fayaz Siddiq Koya to send 2 officials from its Biosecurity Authority to PNG. The officials are Fiji's BAF Executive Chair, Mr. Xavier Riaz Khan, and Fiji's Trade Commissioner to PNG, Mr. Navitalai Tuvivuniwai. They are to meet with the National Agriculture Quarantine Inspection Authority, NAQIA, and other technical officials to urgently resolve issues regarding PNG's oxen palm, snacks biscuits and Trukai rice not entering Fiji markets. Minister Maru thanked Minister Koya, saying it is in the best interest of both PNG and Fiji to get a quick resolution to solve the trade impasse. Maru has requested for the Fiji officials to arrive in Port Moresby this month to have a face-to-face discussion without further delay. He says the meeting is also an opportunity for the officials to discuss any trade issues between both countries. The Mount Hagen Provincial Hospital staff received a new 25-seater bus donated by the Department of Prime Minister and NEC. Deputy Chief of Staff from the Department of Prime Minister and NEC, Andrew Lay, presented the bus in a ceremony in Mount Hagen. The new bus was among other commitments made by the Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, to the doctors and nurses of the hospital. Jack Tame reports from Mount Hagen.
Mr. Leah at the presentation said this new 25-seater coaster bus is one of the Prime Minister's commitments to the nurses when he met the union representatives recently. He added other commitments would take time to deliver.
Dr. Pa and his team met with PM. Actually, it was PM who asked, what do you really need? Your list of demands are long and big and complicated, and it involves all sorts of people.
Acting Chief Executive Officer Benson Savi, while receiving the keys of the bus, thanked the Prime Minister for fulfilling his commitment. He also expressed his gratitude by thanking the union representatives in exercising their right to address the issues surrounding patients' care and service delivery.
Thank you, Lo Yuplao Union, Lo representing good online at Tok. Even though you got plenty ups and downs, the challenge Lo Yuplao communication wise must open so that Mipla must try to help him Lo certain area. Sample have to work and pass, sample have to must open Lo Mipla Surukim service go yet Lord people. You got plan something by come up yet? M1 plot load, apart load slab, but still you got plan service by come up yet.
While at the occasion, the union representatives at the provincial level, Dr. Jonah Kurbi and Sister Mary Callaghan, echoed together that this is one of the outcomes of their undivided fight and will not give up until all the commitments made by the Prime Minister are delivered.
You must not thank you long Hobbies Prime Minister, because two plus something I'm addressing to this. One plus I'm suspension of both. Both chairman will suspend as of last week, I think. And one plus something people are putting forward the petition longer than people achieving M1. The second thing, which is the bus.
As in result to their 120 pages petition, the Health Minister has already suspended the former CEO, Dr. James Kintua, and the board members recently, and further engagement of a separate investigation team is going on at the moment. NBC National News understands that an interim board will be appointed soon. Meanwhile, the 2 million Kina nurses accommodation, maintenance of the operating theatre room, rebuilding of Mount Hagen Hospital at a cost of 500 million Kina, and other issues raised are yet to be fulfilled by the Prime Minister and his government. Jack Tame, NBC National News, Mount Hagen.
Overseas, Australia's Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull is using the G20 in China to discuss trade and security with European partners. The Prime Minister shares a goal with his British counterpart Theresa May to settle a free trade agreement, and will also seek assurances from France that all details about Australia's next fleet of submarines are kept sacred.
The Prime Minister met his British counterpart today. It's Theresa May's first big international outing since assuming the leadership after her nation voted to leave the European Union. She's keen to show that the United Kingdom is still a major economy that's open to the world. She wants to strike a series of free trade agreements, and she's told Malcolm Turnbull Australia is at the top of her list.
We've already been engaged in discussions with you about what the free trade arrangements may look like.
We want to be even more outward-looking around the whole of the world, and obviously Australia, with our long-standing ties and our close relationship, will be one of the first countries we'll be looking to.
Malcolm Turnbull heads into the second day of the G20 Leaders Summit, keen to press his agenda of free trade and innovation, but he'll also meet the French President, and on the agenda there will be security around the $50 billion subs deal.
Maintaining absolute maximum security, total security on information of this kind is critical. The leaks of the material relating to the Scorpene submarine are very, very regrettable. There's a thorough investigation going on at the French side to see how that happened.
And today Malcolm Turnbull also had to deal with the thorny issue of Chinese-linked donations to Australian political parties.
I'm standing up for Australia. Back home, Bill Shorten is standing up for Sam Dastyari's right to take cash from a company associated with a foreign government and then express a view on foreign policy that undermines the Australian government's foreign policy, which had been supported by Mr. Shorten himself.
Australia's Foreign Minister has begun a 2-day visit to Israel on the Palestinian territories. Julie Bishop starts her trip in Jerusalem for meetings with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Foreign Minister Julie Bishop began her tour in Jerusalem at Israel's Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem, paying tribute to the 6 million Jewish people killed in the Holocaust. The minister paid her respects in the museum's Hall of Names and laid a wreath at the Hall of Remembrance. Next up was lunch with Israel's Minister of Defence, Avigdor Lieberman, tea with President Reuven Rivlin before a closed-door meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. On the agenda, one of the sticking points for peace talks, Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank that are seen as illegal under international law. Last week, Israel announced it was building more than 280 new housing units in the Palestinian territory. The Obama administration said it was deeply concerned with the new settlements. When asked if she shared that concern, Foreign Minister Bishop said that's why she raised the issue with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
I certainly raised the issue of settlements with the Prime Minister. We discussed the prospects of the peace negotiations recommencing, and in that context I raised the issue of settlements and also other issues that may well damage the potential for the peace process to get underway again.
Tomorrow, Minister Bishop will finish her trip by visiting the West Bank and meeting with the Palestinian Prime Minister.
Stay with us on NBC National News.